Welcome to the REACH instructional video for adding coping cards to your virtual Hope Box. In this video, you will learn about coping cards, how to add them to your own virtual Hope Box, and see some coping card examples. You can create coping cards in your virtual Hope Box to help with caregiving problems you are currently dealing with. The coping cards include the particular problem area, the emotions and symptoms the problem causes, and the coping skills you plan to use to help with the problem. You can create multiple coping cards for each caregiving problem you are dealing with to refer back to when needed. You will work with your REACH program coach on skills like problem solving, mood management, stress management, and taking care of you. Your program coach will help you create coping cards based on the problems discussed in your REACH sessions. After you have downloaded the Virtual Hope Box app, open the app on your device. You will be asked to put in your PIN number or use your fingerprint scanner to unlock the app. You should have set this up when you installed the app. Then click on Coping Tools. Next, click on Coping Cards. Then, click either the plus button, Create New Coping Card, or Edit an Existing Coping Card. For your first coping card, you will click Create New Coping Card. For additional coping cards, you will click the plus button to add a new coping card, or Edit to edit an existing card. Next, click into Problem Area and type in the current caregiving problem this coping card addresses. Then, type in the emotions or symptoms caused by this caregiving issue in the Emotions and Symptoms field. To add more than one, click Add Symptom. Last, type in the things you plan to try in the Coping Skills section. You can add more than one by clicking the Add Coping Skill button. Once your coping card is completed, click the Done or Save button. Now your new coping card will be in your virtual Hope Box to refer back to when needed. You can create additional coping cards to address other caregiving issues, as well as edit existing coping cards in your virtual Hope Box. Here are some sample coping cards to show you how to put what you worked on with your program coach in your REACH sessions into the coping cards in your virtual Hope Box. This first sample shows you how to take the mood management skill you learned and create a coping card for quick go-to coping strategies that are all in one place to refer back to when needed. Alright, so here's the caregiver background for this coping card. Louise is a caregiver for her husband Charles, who suffers from traumatic brain injury and dementia. Louise feels wary when she considers that Charles's dementia may continue to progress. She feels angry that she doesn't even have the luxury of knowing that her routine next week or even next month may change to accommodate Charles's decline. She sometimes feels it is pointless to put any effort into engaging Charles in a new activity or to coordinate and organize any family time. She wonders, what if the things that work for him today won't work next week? Type in a short description of what the problem is that this coping card will address. For example, dementia is changing things. Things I put into place may not last. Type in a short description or a list of emotions or symptoms caused by the problem. For example, Louise can add multiple emotions like fear, worry, and depression. Type in the coping skills section any ideas you have to help resolve or improve the problem. For example, Louise can add multiple things she wants to try, like acknowledging that things are changing. She can try not to make elaborate plans. She can try to enjoy each day with Charles. She can be grateful for what he can do now. She can find someone to talk to who has been through this, like another caregiver, or someone who can offer advice, like a counselor. She can talk to her VA caregiver support coordinator about connecting with a caregiver peer mentor. Louise could also join a support group at the VA or through the Alzheimer's Association. The second example will show you how to put the problem-solving issue you worked on with your program coach during your REACH session into your virtual HopeBox coping cards. If you worked on multiple problems, you can create a coping card for each problem to refer back to when needed. Alright, so here's the caregiver background. Again, Louise's husband Charles lost some of his motor functioning due to an injury in Afghanistan 10 years ago. When he returned to work at the family business, a fabric store, he was still able to ring up customers and interact with them. However, Charles has experienced some cognitive decline due to dementia over the past few years. Counting money and carrying on conversations with others became increasingly difficult for him. Last year, Louise sold the family business and now stays home to care for Charles full-time. Louise has noticed that Charles has become markedly depressed and withdrawn in the past year. Although Charles's recent changes could be part of his dementia, Louise remembers how important the family business was to him for so long and believes this may be part of the issue as well. Type in a short description of what the problem is that this card will address. For example, Charles seems depressed ever since I sold the family business. Type in a short description or a list of emotions or symptoms caused by the problem. For example, Louise added that Charles is withdrawn, eating less, is less active, and appears depressed. Type in the coping skills section any ideas you have to help resolve or improve the problem. For example, Louise can give him scrap fabric to cut or loop yarn for knitting if scissors become unsafe. She can set up a cash register with Play Money, a ledger, and invoice notepad. She can also have a weekly video call with family members or friends. Louise can designate Charles the role of family historian since he has always been fascinated by history and enjoys talking about it. She can ask family members to interview him for future projects. Louise and Charles can play bingo together at the local community center. For more help with creating coping cards, please talk to your REACH program coach.